Cultural Relativism by Brianna Gibbons and Ivy Chi. Meet Ashley and Jessica.
Jessica and Ashley went to Starbucks one day and got into a very interesting conversation after finding out about their friend's open marriage. Open marriage is a kind of marriage in which the two partners are allowed to participate in sexual relations with others outside the marriage without the activities being regarded as infidelity.
Hey, did you hear about Mary's marriage? They decided to make it an open marriage.
Yeah, I heard about that. Isn't that wonderful?
What? Why would you think that?
It's a marriage based on honesty and trust. They do it in parts of Europe and it's totally okay. Besides, who are we to judge their choice? It's only our culture that tells us that it's wrong.
This sounds a bit like that cultural relativism stuff we learned today.
Yeah, it does. Hey, don't you remember he told us that different societies have different moral codes?
That's true, but does that really make everything people do alright? For instance, what about how some cultures still allow students to be hit with a ruler or a stick when they do something wrong?
Yikes, that sounds painful, but it's still their culture, so we can't really judge them because they do things differently than us. Besides, Linehan did tell us about how cultural relativism states that there is no universal truth in ethics. In other words, there are no moral truths that stand for all people at all times.
I don't think that is quite the case, though. There aren't a lot of universal truths, but there are some. Think about the values of loving and caring for kids, telling the truth and keeping promises, and even the prohibition of murder.
I think you have a point there.
These values are pretty uniform, and normally the differences that pop up in different cultures come from the exceptions those cultures make to these rules or values.
Oh, I get it. So there can still be differences, but they are based around values, like the ones you listed.
Exactly! Now do you see why I'm not big on open marriage?
I guess. But there is one more thing that cultural relativism tells us. It says that it's wrong to judge the conducts of other people, and that we should adopt an attitude of tolerance towards the practices of other cultures.
Who says we shouldn't? Remember, though, that we can accept, not tolerate, other cultural practices, but still recognize that some of them are bad.
Why not tolerate?
Because tolerating something means you could see it as bad, but decide to let it continue. So acceptance of the good differences is better than tolerating the good and the bad.
Wow, good to know. So we can still recognize the differences in culture, but also know that there is still good or bad.
You got it!
That open marriage idea is a little odd to me anyways.
Me too, Ashley. Me too.